I just got back from dinner. I had like the most amazing chicken tacos ever. It was Today we're going to be talking about glow. No, we're not talking about this glow or this glow or this glow. No, we're talking about light simulation. What I mean by that is any object that emits light in a way that affects the object surrounding it. And I'm going to help you from getting glow that looks like this to improving it and making it look like this. First things first, we're going to be setting up some ground rules. The first rule, always use the blending setting when making glow. I cannot stress that enough. The second rule is brighter lights need higher saturation and lower opacities. And rule number 3, control your saturation. As we get further into the tutorial, I'll explain what each of these rules mean. Okay, first things first, our light needs a structure. For this scenario, we're just going to use this single 1x1 block and just going to make our light source really quickly. We're not going to be making anything fancy, we just need to make ourselves a simple little bulb. Okay, now that we have our light bulb, it's going to be facing downwards to another structure, which I will then copy this. I'm actually even going to change the color of it, the hue of it, to a more pinkish color. And I'm going to keep all of the glow in this hack free. So you will not need to worry about using hacks to match the glow that I'm creating. Okay, now that we have ourselves a structure, I'm going to go in and actually start by making the light itself. Okay, so here's something that you have to really think about. All right, so if your light is going to be extremely layered, if it's going to be put on something that is layered on top of layers, I would highly recommend, just so that you'll save your Z layers, to go to this to make it not blending for the actual light object, not the glow, not the emission. No, you're gonna want something that will be around a low saturation version of the light you're gonna make. In this case scenario, I used red structuring. And a great way to complement red structuring is by using the opposite color to red. In this case, we're gonna make it blue. Okay, and even then, again, we're going to lower the saturation here. And the reason why I'm doing this is to create a layering and depth of detail. The more detail you have, the better your glow. We're going to make it look kind of like glass. It's going to have a glassy thing without actually making it a blending or a different opacity. Now that we have our light, the next thing we're going to want to do is this is up to the creator, but I personally really like these little these glow balls. These are really like universal. You can use them for almost everything except for when you want to optimize. But in this case scenario, we're going to use our glow ball and we're going to go up one more in color and we're going to create the blending glow. Okay, so when I was talking about rule 1, use this blending option right here. Okay, this is very important and I'm going to show you why if you don't use it. Okay, we're going to make sure that our glow is because it's a smaller light, we're going to make it a low opacity blue. Okay, now I'm going to show you what happens if you don't use the blending option. Okay, we're going to put it in front of all the other objects. Okay, cool. This is glow and everything. It's spanning to the other structure. It's touching the other objects. Okay, but here's the problem. When you don't have it blending, instead of the light or the object adding to the color of an object, it's being put on top of it. So when we make it as a blending object, it adds to the object's color instead of putting on top of. I'm not really the coding genius behind the glow, but I do know that using the blending option is probably the most important thing when making glow. Okay, furthermore, because it is a small structure, I'm going to make sure that the low saturated, which means the base color that I've made, this low saturation blue, so we're going to make sure it's really small. Okay, I think 50 is the lowest I can go. And we're just gonna copy it until it's aligned like this, and we're gonna put it on top like this. Make sure it's on the better Z layer. And no, this is not good. This is not okay. You don't use this many glow objects for this kind of structure. So instead, what I like to do is use this very handy tool that was given to us by the almighty RobTop Games, and it's called the Align X and Y. In this case, it's on the X direction, so we're going to hit Align X so that they are all evenly spaced against each other. Furthermore, I could leave it like this, but then it actually just covers up the actual light that I have already made, the light structure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to lower its brightness, okay? The brightness setting makes it is kind of like the alpha trigger. It lowers its opacity when it comes to blending. Okay, when you use the brightness setting on a blending object, then that will affect its brightness or its opacity. Okay, all right, here we go. We have ourselves our first layer of glow, which you don't need to do this. In fact, I rarely ever do this. Is create this first layer. But for our sakes, and because this is going to be a very bright light bulb that will be shining down on this surface right here, we're going to keep that first layer of glow. Okay, there are many scenarios I can think of where you don't need to have this. Okay, all right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to take our biggest glow ball and we're gonna use the same color group. Continuing on, okay? You use the same color channel as you used for the other glow, okay? And because you are now doing the emissive or the bloom of the glow, you are going to gradually increase the saturation and lower the brightness as you get bigger, okay? So for this, I'm gonna delete that. For this isn't quite enough saturation. We're going to increase it again. Nope, it's still not good enough. We're going to keep increasing it until it reaches its maximum, okay? And sometimes I like to use a more blue than a cyan blue for blue lights, okay? And also we need to lower the brightness even more. And we're also going to make it a little more blue. Okay, now we have ourselves an actual, like you can actually see now the glow is starting to take place and it's starting to look better. Okay? Lower brightnesses are always going to be the best thing when it comes to the area of effect glow. That's the second layer of glow that we're doing right now, the area of effect. Now you might notice that this light is not touching the light down here. It is not touching the structures down here. This has no effect on the surface below. Okay, and before we move on to that, we're going to actually make sure our light is more intense. So it is more than capable of giving off that much light. And remember to lower the brightness as you get bigger and increase the saturation. But our saturation is at max right now, so we can't go much higher. Unless I actually change the saturation of the color itself. Okay, but we're gonna keep it like this, a very, very cool blue. Okay, here is the fun part, making the other surfaces actually have an effect from the glow. Okay, this is also the most difficult part. You're gonna basically want to do this one thing. This is the hardest part. You're gonna press this copy and paste button. Okay, and you're gonna go down here and you're gonna hit copy and paste again and again and again. And you're gonna do the same thing up here. You're gonna go up here, closer to it, and you're gonna hit copy and paste again and again and again. And there you go, you have your surface glow. You can even take it one step further by using this and copying the values of the larger glow and pasting its state and color on the bottom layer. So that way your glow is going to have a downward effect on your, and just really make this cone shape, okay? And you're also gonna wanna paste the values of the glow before it until you have this cone shape, okay? And you're going to just increase the size until it just barely reaches the bottom of this. And there you have it, your best glow. Okay, now that I've taught you how to make the best glow, I best not see any of you ever send me a single image of feedback when you haven't ticked the blending option at least. Broskm challenges.